In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello, Defenders, and welcome to another exciting, action-packed episode of your favorite podcast. It's Defend Your Movie. I am one of your hosts, Andrew Fiore, along with the funny, the handsome, the devilish Sean Donnelly.
Oh my God, devilish!
Yeah.
I've never been called devilish.
I know.
Also, I love the fact that you brought up the Defenders right away. That's cool.
Yeah.
That should be a new thing. Hello, Defenders.
Hello, Defenders.
That sounds like we have like a superhero.
It
call.
does kind of sound a little superhero-ish.
Hello, Andy. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Andrew, how is the life of Andrew Fiore going?
It was good. I missed you this weekend. I was on the road, but we were texting back and forth.
We were.
And I got to admit, I'm a little upset. I sent you a nice Seinfeld reference last night and didn't even hear back.
Do you know what?
I thought it was one that was right up your alley.
I saw one. I saw it later on. And I don't even. Oh my God! I'm gonna make myself. I'm gonna lose on this. I don't know.
I had a feeling you might not have gotten it because it's a real deep cut.
Is it? Which one is it from?
I love whenever Jerry's parents try and get him to quit comedy and get a regular job.
Yeah.
His dad always has hilarious friends' names. So he goes, Jerry, it's when Jerry bounces the check at Marcelino's.
Yeah.
And his parents call him. They go, Jerry, we heard you bounce the check. And he goes, his mom goes, you've given this comedy thing a shot. I think you should really look into the Sears executive program.
Yes.
And his dad goes, he never even called Ed Roydlick.
Holy shit, that's a deep cut.
It's such a funny name.
I did not know it. And I'll tell you want to know why I didn't respond? Can you guess why I didn't respond? Because we were supposed to have a homework assignment for the episode.
Oh, right.
Okay, so we both were supposed to watch a movie for the episode this week that we didn't do.
Yes,
That
yours
we were
was
supposed to do next week.
Network and mine was After Hours.
Mine was Network. Yours was After Hours. I thought it was a line from Network, and I didn't want to admit to you that I didn't do the homework. I felt like ashamed, so I was like,
well, you know what's going to make you feel better? I didn't do my own research either. This is why we're comedians.
We just don't want to work at anything whatsoever. Whatever the easiest possible path is, that's what we do.
You know what's funny, though, is for some reason when you and our producer Alex would talk about After Hours, I had a different version of the movie in my head. I swear I thought it was along the lines of like Scorsese's Mean Streets and not good. I thought...
Nope.
And then I watched the trailer for it and go, oh, I've seen most of this before. I haven't seen the whole thing from start to finish, but I caught it one day and I knew exactly what it was.
That's what's so remarkable about it, because it is not your typical Scorsese movie,
right? But
it does take place in New York, and it's like it's I think Scorsese said it was his ode to like weird New York or something like that.
Yeah,
some kind of thing about like being overnights in New York, and it'll remind you of like old New York.
Yeah.
Like 80s New York.
80s gritty New York City.
Exactly, like when it was real dangerous and stuff could happen. But it does not have. There's no Italian statues on a parade. There's no Lower East Side Italian accents or Brooklyn.
Right.
Or it's not like that. It might be a little bit. Yeah, there's no minke. There's no eat. Why don't you eat?
Yeah, mange.
Yeah, manja. There's nothing like, it's not. If you watched it, you would not be like, Scorsese directed this. Even style-wise.
Yeah.
Even, I don't even know, it doesn't have the good, it was before Goodfellas. I think it was 87?
Oh, yes. It's in mid-80s.
It's the mid-80s. 85, I think it was.
Is this the coked up Martin Scorsese years?
Maybe it is.
Because we've always heard about those.
Yeah, maybe it is. I remember, you ever hear the rumors that he used to, like, when he was making Taxi Driver and stuff, he would invite people over for parties and have them watch the bloody dailies from all the movies, like the most violent parts that got, like, cut out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he would have, like, parties, and
Never
then
heard
open
that.
up a TV, and they would watch, or he would have a film strip, and they would watch...
it's almost like snuff film parties.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it's all fake. It's for the movies, but
Right,
it's like,
but still.
and I think it was like that weird.
You're
like,
heading down a weird path. I mean,
yeah. I think he probably partied hard. He's probably one of those guys. But this movie, you would not right away be like, this is a Scorsese movie. It's got Griffin Dunn in it, who like kind of after that, like he did American Werewolf in London. He was in that, and that was his biggest thing.
Yeah.
And then he did a lot of TV, I think. And then he does like the Law and Orders and stuff.
You just go, oh, that guy.
He's like a New York character actor,
Right,
that kind of guy.
right.
And he's great in it. And the ending of After Hours is kind of it's a little screwy. Like if you watch it, you're like, oh, this is kind of dark. It's a little bit dark.
Yeah.
And then something happens, whatever. But it's worth watching. It's a fun movie to watch.
I will.
It's got a lot of big cameos, and it's fun. It's just a fun, like, it's one of those movies that, like, I'm glad I watched that. I never would have found that unless somebody told me.
Yeah, the trailer's great. It kind of goes through. He tells the story. He's like, you're never gonna believe what happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then he goes through the whole thing.
And it's funny, after you watch it, there's a piece of trivia that's pretty good as far as the story goes that I want to tell you after you watch it.
Okay,
It makes no sense now. But, so you're not going to think Scorsese when you're watching that movie. Not going to happen. And as far as Network, I want to watch it. And you know what?
Top 5.
On my way walking here where we're taping the episode today, I noticed... the Network, Bryan Cranston is in Network, the Broadway play.
Yeah, I'm dying to go see him in it, but you have to see the movie first.
It was like taunting me that I didn't do.
That's so funny.
You didn't do your homework.
Fine, all right, universe.
Yeah. And that's the thing when I'm sitting there going, Andy's going to be mad at me. What if I say, Andy, I didn't watch it because I think we should go see the Broadway play before I watch it. I was trying to think of excuses. No, there's nothing, whatever it is.
You can pretty much always count on me not doing an assignment either.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a homework guy.
But
I will definitely watch Network. I definitely will.
Yeah. I mean, just as a movie lover, we'll immediately fall in love with it. I'm not confident in it.
I know I'll like it once I watch it.
It's one of those amazing casts, just amazing acting. It's just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And it's weirdly prevalent now. It's like with all the it's like it's so weirdly foreboding with its message.
It's kind of warning you.
You're just like, holy shit, they knew this was going to happen today. And then you look at today and go, they fucking nailed it. Oh, it's insane how on the head they hit it.
Of what news will become.
Of what news, reality TV. Like, they almost create it before it was ever a thing.
Oh, don't tell me anymore.
Yeah, but it's so good.
I'm gonna watch.
It's just phenomenal. Faye Dunaway. I mean, there's so many good people in it. It's amazing.
I'm gonna check it out.
I love it. Top 5 for me. Top 5 for me. Howard Beale. It's got I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, that's
the famous line, and that just scratches the surface of it.
Did you watch anything else this week?
Yeah, I weirdly enough watched. I got home from the Yankees game the other day, and Rampage was on with The Rock.
Oh God!
And I was just kind of like I was just taking a nap, but I just kind of watched the whole thing, and it wasn't terrible. It was not great, but it was entertaining.
Now let me ask you this: were you a player of the video game?
I was a player of the video game as a little kid, and
could not be a more fun game.
So much fun
because you really can't lose the game.
And they drop subtle video game references in it.
Oh, that's cool.
At certain points, they make it so this one company is developing like almost this genetic warfare kind of gene. So it gets into a gorilla, a reptile, and a wolf.
Yeah, there's a part in the trailer where the gorilla goes into a cave and comes out like
exactly huge. And so they're constantly growing, which holds true to the video game.
Yes, it's all created in a lab. There's Lizzie and something else. They're all named different.
Yeah. And so the evil company that created it, they're having like a meeting in the background, and then they go to one of the board members' office, and you can catch the video game Rampage in the background. You can see it.
Oh, really?
The original video game.
Oh,
yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
One of the best things about this game is I remember whenever I go to an arcade and see it, I used to get so excited because it's one of the games that you could play. You are the bad guy.
Yeah,
which that wasn't many games like that back then. Like,
no.
Think about how many. It was always like the underdog versus whoever.
Yeah.
Even Punch Out, or you had Mario.
No,
like,
yeah.
Always the little
Underdog
thing versus the big thing. They were genius. They're like, you're going to be the big thing and you're going to destroy the town. And then also all these cool, fucked up things of like, you're going to grab the army men out of the sky
and you just eat them.
You eat them and shoot them and then spit out.
It was a fun game, man.
Really fun game. And then even they had it for like Nintendo or something, and it wasn't as good, but it was still fun.
No, it wasn't as good, but it's still good. And they eat people, and The Rock comes and does what The Rock does.
Now, is that the only likeness? Is that you see the game in it? Is it just an action movie besides that?
Yeah, it's straight up action.
There's not much to the game anyway. You're just destroying things.
Yeah.
But in the game, I don't even think you do get to a jungle part. I think it's just the city.
I don't remember.
It's all urban places, and then the buildings get bigger and bigger.
The way they did it in the movie is the company sends out this signal that brings them all to the city. Because all the three animals are in different parts of the world.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, dude. I honestly like...
well, you can't go wrong with The Rock.
Yeah,
you were talking about that. There's a new trailer for the Hobbs with The Rock and not Guy. What's
Calvin and Hobbs?
No. Like from Fast and Furious.
Vin Diesel?
Yeah, Vin Diesel. No, not Vin Diesel. No. The Rock... And
I've never
Statham.
seen. Oh yeah, I've never seen any.
Oh,
of them.
that's right. Yeah, you're out of your mind for not seeing these movies. Am I good? But they to play these two characters that are at odds in the series, and then they have to team up together to like do something. The trailer looks so good, so fucking good.
All right,
you got to check it out. There's those guys. I'm telling you, like. I say this a lot in the podcast. I think some people appreciate this. You have to appreciate what goes into creating action like that. It is
absolutely.
You know how easily that can be screwed up and made to look chintzy, and they make it look awesome every time.
Yeah.
And they come up with brand new sequences that you're like, I never thought of that. A boat coming out of the iceberg? Yeah, I never thought of that. Whatever it was, the truck coming out of the boat, out of the iceberg.
Yeah.
All this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And they just ramp it up. It's not about if it makes any sense anymore, and if it's like these street drag racers from Northern California
that's true.
or Southern California just become these international spies.
Yeah, I guess you suspend reality.
You suspend reality when you watch it. I didn't watch a movie, but I will say this. I watched a bunch of episodes of Entourage over the weekend, and I found myself watching a whole season of it. Like, you can't... It's like bubblegum.
I don't know why it had so much hate. It was an enjoyable show.
I'll tell you this much. This is how I went with the movie, with the show. I remember at the time, early on watching it, the early seasons being like, this is actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Then later on, when it became kind of so passé and kind of corny, being like, oh yeah, they were totally clueless. But now that I rewatch it, the only thing that doesn't hold up is it is a Me Too fiasco.
Oh yeah,
it is. It does not pass the Bechdel test, and we've talked about the Entourage movie on the podcast. I think before we joined the podcast, but like it is the opposite of the Bechdel test. But there are female characters that add to the plot. It's like everything because it's like it's a show.
I mean, I think 2004 it might have come out, maybe even earlier, 2003.
Yeah.
So that was still,
the
times they had not a change in...
and the way they talk about women on the show, I know that's kind of the point of it. They're not supposed to be great guys when it comes to that.
It's a bro show.
It's a really bro show. But I will say this. It's not like they don't spare any expense for some of the characters. They are goofing on those guys constantly and kind of making fun that they're like that. Like... Kevin Dillon, that guy should get more credit for what he did in that show. Playing the washed-up 90s TV actor.
I know, I mean...
Just reference after reference after reference of him saying, you want me to call Barbara... He goes, at one point he goes, you want me to call Barbara Schroeder? He goes, I was an extra on Barfly. I was an extra for 3 weeks on Barfly. This is like shit like that where it's like he has no connections to anybody, but he's just making fun of himself with the things that he's saying. And the guy, Kevin Dillon, just pulls it off. I don't think people realize how genius that is to make a character like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think people get like, oh no, they do have
John Densmore.
John Densmore?
He played John Densmore in The Doors. Kevin Dillon.
That's right, he did.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
the drummer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying for this, it's like you watch him on this show and you're like, oh yeah, he gets it. He gets
totally, because they're essentially just making fun of him.
Yeah.
They go, hey, we really need you to be on board with this, or it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
Oh,
But one thing I
got
noticed,
the song in my head now.
Oh yeah, I know. You can't not do it. They also ruined that song.
Yeah,
I
Jane's
hate
Addiction.
That song, yeah. And I love Jane's Addiction, but that song sucks. But I'll tell you, watching it made me realize it's passe as far as social stuff goes, and as far as the women's movement goes, and Me Too. But they didn't know that back then. But they were heavy for back then on it, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, they were totally wrong about the importance of movies. This was before like the golden age of television.
Yeah.
Like but Sopranos was going on when this was on it.
Absolutely.
Right. But they still... people didn't realize, like, how kind of TV is the gold standard now, and like TV has become like the new movies in a lot of ways, as far as like reputation goes, and as far as like the art of it and the writing and the back then it was like if you were a big name, it's movies or nothing.
Right.
Like in the show, there's multiple plot lines. They're like, we can't have Vince do TV.
Yes.
What are you, crazy?
100%.
But this happened now, he'd be like, yeah, I'll jump in a FX show.
Remember when it was taboo for like even like B-list celebrities to do commercials?
Oh yeah,
like that was the sign that your career was over.
And now you George Clooney doing Nespresso.
People like, and if you were going to do a commercial, you would, for the paycheck, you would go in Japan where nobody would ever see it.
Yeah, and then I think what happened was the commercials became international and they started airing them over here. I think that's how it first happened.
Maybe like the writing, or I hate to give advertising this coin, but like. I think they did get a little better, where it's like maybe they're a little more clever now. And I remember like it's the same thing. They were just like TV commercial, like this is like what is next, soap operas?
Yeah, you're right.
And then James Franco went to the soap opera.
Yeah, because he didn't like it's the guys like that just don't. They're like, I want to do fun stuff. I don't care.
But it's true. I mean, like we're 4 episodes left when the entire series of Game of Thrones, and like the remaining 3 are all going to be like an hour and a half long, which is like that's 3 movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
But yeah, Sopranos kicked that off, and then like Breaking Bad, and then those just like really the hour-long dramas became beautiful to look at, really well acted, and really well written. And it's just like, just because it's an hour and it's on cable doesn't mean that it can't be up to the same level of quality as a feature film.
Yeah, and that because the production, I think producing things that look like that got easier. So you don't have to put the millions of dollars like you once did. It's still expensive. Like, if you have people shooting movies on iPhones now, that's why it became like, hey, let's just go for broke, What
we're trying to tell you, Defenders, is we're losing the Defend Your Movie format. Just Defend Your Sitcom is going to...
We probably could do that as bonus episodes. Defend Your Sitcom as like a baby episode of the show.
Defend Your Series.
Each week we just be like, Seinfeld versus nothing. It's the best. Seinfeld versus, we don't care because we love Seinfeld. But yeah, dude, I think that, but it's funny to watch what the status quo, what the state of the nation is as far as like the business goes back then. That was only 14 years ago, and these guys, they're talking, it's like another world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be also interesting to see the new medium. Like, I think we're beyond it age-wise, because all I hear about now is nobody even watches TV anymore.
I know.
Like, my nephew, he's like, I've watched YouTube since I was like a kid.
Oh.
Where you're just like,
oh my God.
You never like just sat down and like flipped around with the remote? He's just like, no, I watch like tutorials and I just watch YouTube. And he's like, if there's anything I really want to watch, I just download it. And I just like, I don't know if I would be the same person if I didn't like know that pain of like missing a TV show, like running home and being like, I'm gonna miss the first 5 minutes.
I know.
And then like then you're screwed.
It was so much more important.
Another funny thing I used to laugh about was like with music videos. Remember, like if you looked away for a split second, the information on a video would come up to a song you liked, and then if you looked back, you're like, I missed it. Now I gotta wait for it to come up in the cycle again.
They used to play it at the end as well. They do one
they
beginning,
did,
one
but sometimes
stop,
you turn on MTV and you go, hey, I'm digging this, and then your mom would be like, Andy, you'd be like, yeah. And then you look back, it was gone. And then remember, there was always that time too.
The song name, album, director, and the record company.
I think, And then there was always those few times where you're like, all right, there's no way they already showed it.
Yeah.
And then the video just ends. You go, motherfucker, did I just... Never going to see it again.
That's so funny. You're right, because you had no way.
Yeah.
Like,
you just had to wait for it to come up in the rotation.
And videos were so important, you could describe the video to your friend and be like,
totally.
What song is that?
Totally.
I saw this video today, and I missed the title card. What? It was a girl in the field.
And it wasn't up there very long.
Or a girl in a bumblebee costume, and she was dancing around.
I mean, 5 or 6 seconds. It was, you really had to focus.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, and you had to do that thing where, like, you were trying to remember a pretty girl's phone number. You had to be like, okay, Molly Crew, girls. You look with the cat dragged in. Molly Crew, girls. Look with the cat dragged in. Molly Crew, girls. You just had to repeat it to yourself, unless you had a pencil and paper.
Yeah. Shazam was not around.
Yeah, no.
You know, the guy who
The
invented
most genius
Shazam.
Invention. The most genius. I use it all the time.
Out of control genius. The guy who invented Shazam, you know he had that problem on a freaking daily basis.
Totally.
Either he had crazy ADD. The guy who invented Shazam was just like, I can't catch one of these things. What if there was a thing that could tell me what fucking song this is?
Yeah.
Also, what I want to see, you know how they redid, because now I'll watch the first YouTube series that I have the premium because I wanted to watch Cobra Kai. I watched the first season.
I've heard great things.
It's good, and now the second one's coming out.
Yeah.
Or it came out.
I should get on board.
But now I'm thinking they should do is this: bring back Entourage to YouTube. Woke Entourage. I want to see
Entourage in the Me Too movement.
Entourage in the Me Too movement. It could be 3 episodes of just them apologizing for all the shit they did. Just how funny it would be. Kevin Dillon's like, you got to hook up with her, bro. She's a good girl. You marry, you have some kids, you settle down. That's what you do because you're a gentleman. Dude, the most woke thing ever.
All the girls they ended up with too, I loved Emmanuel Trickery, or however you say her name. That ended up marrying E, who I fucking hated. By the end, I really hated E.
Sloane, you mean?
Sloane.
Yeah, you hate like she got annoying.
No, I loved her. I hated E.
Well, E, that guy, I would love to have a conversation with Kevin Connolly, that guy.
Yeah.
I'm so curious what his goal was in his life.
Islanders fan.
Is he an Islanders fan?
Yeah, he's a big New York sports fan.
There's no reason why. Maybe we can get him on the show.
Maybe.
Kevin Connolly, can you reach out?
Yeah, we'll reach out.
We're going to tweet it. Anybody who knows Kevin Connolly, can you
We'll
come
fist
on the
fight
show?
over hockey. It might happen.
Andy and you can fist fight over hockey, and Andy's quite large, so he might fuck you up.
No, of course.
No. But
I think he's a Yankees fan, so we get along on that.
He could defend Gotti. He directed Gotti. He was the last director attached to Gotti.
Right.
But I remember there was an article about him or an interview where he said right before he did Entourage, he was going to retire from acting because he used to do acting as a kid. I think he was like Newsies or something, so maybe he was like not getting stuff and he was almost done, and then he got that role, and then and he kind of stopped after that. I guess maybe he really meant it, but he kind of stopped. But he reminds me of my friend Mike Regan so much. The facial expressions that he makes. I was watching Entourage. I'm like, that's my friend Mike Regan. He just totally seems like Mike, right? But I'm so curious what he wanted because it seemed like he had a pretty good run. But I'm wondering if he was like happy with how things went, and he was like happy being on Entourage and happy. I don't see why not.
I mean, I think if you're at the end of your ropes career-wise and you're thinking about calling it a day, to get a role you've got to be stoked. How can you not be?
He did like Valentine's Day after Entourage was done, so I'm sure he got that because of Entourage.
Oh, right.
The other thing that Adrian Grenier guy, I'm also curious about him because you're on a show where you're a TV
guy. Paul kind of disappeared.
Yeah, but you're playing a movie star where one of the plot lines for like the 5th season is they're talking about you being a shitty actor, and at one point Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven says to you, he goes, do you think I'm a good actor? And the guy Ari says it remains to be seen. Now you're an actor in that show. Are you purposely playing a bad actor?
I think so.
I don't know.
Which is probably really hard to do.
But I think he has that level of acting where it's like he's good at like playing like Anne Hathaway's boyfriend in Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out perfectly because you're like movie star looks, but as far as chops go, you watch that show, you're like, oh, they kind of nailed it on this because I don't know. I'm just so curious about that. because they have to. I wonder if that would fuck with me if they were like, if I had lines. I did a show once called Alpha House. I had a tiny little role in it where literally one of the characters, I play a guy who blows the whistle on some scandal on a movie, a TV set.
Fucking
right?
narc.
Yeah. I blow the whistle on the scandal, right? But they have me in some awful outfit. It's me, fat with my beard, and they're watching me. Mark Consuelos is watching me on TV, and his hot girlfriend goes, "Why would this man do this and blow the whistle?" And he looks at the TV at me on the interview on the Today Show, and he says, "I don't know. He doesn't look like he graduated high school." And I didn't know that until after the fact. All I did was have my line.
That's hilarious.
I was kind of like, I get shit like that all the time, like dopey, whatever it is. But I was like, what the hell? I'm like, it hurt me for a second. I was like,
sure,
Jesus Christ. So that's why I'm wondering about those guys. Like, if you're getting a big enough paycheck, you probably just fuck it. I don't care. So I just think it's interesting. I don't know why I went off on a tangent like that, but I think it's interesting.
No, very interesting. Which probably leads us to our defense of the week, or as we call it,
the meat and the potatoes.
Meats and the beats.
The meats and the beats. It's getting shorter and shorter. The banapay.
The M's and the P. Yeah, the
MP. So this week we have a specialty thing here.
And before we start, I want to give you a prop, as they say.
You mean props?
Props.
That's the.
Well, it's just one prop. It's just one compliment. So I don't know how that works out.
It's
if it's still
props. It's still props.
Plural.
Because you're propsing me up.
Okay.
No,
you're proppers. Yes.
Why props?
Because we were both down at the Comedy Cellar. I was doing a spot around the corner. You were at the Village Underground, and you were talking to somebody. I just happened to pop down and watch your set, and you were saying something, and I really think it went over most of the audience's head. But you were talking to one guy where you're like, you look like you make apps in your mom's basement or something along those lines. You're breaking his balls. And then you did, and I'm pretty sure it was on purpose.
Yeah.
You did the comedy. And I think you can hear me in the back go, nah! Just laugh.
I go, Ma, I'm making my ass.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing a King comedy reference.
I think I was the only one in the room.
Oh, yeah.
But that was because we were just talking about it that week.
Absolutely. And I think there was a couple people who got it, I think. Or they were just laughing.
Had to be a few.
And they might have just been laughing because I was doing a funny voice.
Right.
But, yeah, that's the thing about hosting is that you can say whatever you want. I was hosting the show, and I said the guy looks like he makes apps in his mom's basement.
And I think the guy actually ended up, he was like, I make apps.
He makes apps.
It was spot on.
He had like a hipster look to him, the guy. But he looked young enough where like, oh, you could still live in your mom's basement. That's where I got the idea from. But yeah, thank you very much.
No, it was very funny, and it was a nice reference to our conversation on the podcast.
We had just spoken about it, like I think 2 days before,
it was
or
fresh.
day before. It was fresh in my brain. I
always like to keep fresh fruit around the house.
Hey, Joe.
I like it as a snack. That's Kramer.
That's not your fruit. That's Kramer's fruit.
Plantains. It's such. I haven't seen that one in forever. And then you know what? I guarantee I see it tonight. Does it ever happen to you? You talk about it, and then that's on that night. It's so weird.
Oh, hey, Joe. Just getting myself some fruit.
I like it as a snack. It's such a funny way.
Keep it around the house. And he goes, what does he say about the plums? He goes, plums with the red on the inside.
Just right. All right. Sorry. Enough Seinfeld.
All right, let's do the meat and potatoes.
We have a fun little
meat and potatoes.
We have a little variance of the Defend Your Movie setup.
Sometimes theme episodes come out of that. We don't know what matchups to do. That would be great. So what we did, Andy sent me an article. We
were trying to think of. We're going to do maybe Adam Sandler movie, and then we were thinking about Airheads, but then we started thinking of SNL movies, and then we go, oh, cool, we maybe pick 2 SNL movies, sketches that were Saturday Night Live sketches that became movies, Ladies' Man, Wayne's World were most famous,
Yeah.
And then we go, it's really hard to pit those against each other. So we actually found out there's only 11 SNL Saturday Night Live movies.
Yeah, and it's funny because you guys, some of you are saying bullshit because you're thinking of all the movies that follow SNL people.
I thought the same thing.
Same here.
Until you go, oh yeah, I guess when you boil it down, out of the sketches, there actually only is 11, and 11 is actually a lot of movies.
It's a lot of movies.
But
the thing's been on for 40 years.
Exactly.
If you would have told me, when you told me about the article and sent it, I thought it was going to be a list of 50 movies. I just had in my head, like, oh yeah, this is, because I thought they would have thrown in all the ones that had SNL people in them.
Totally.
But they don't, and honestly, they should have, because the list that they give as far as like tried and true based off SNL stuff movies, like as movies, you realize these sketches don't work.
Right.
And you don't have, it's not like you have a bulk of the list, because you have like, whenever you do one of these lists online, and they go from the worst to the best, your first few, especially in the first round, the list is usually longer, and secondly, the first 10 are usually kind of crappy, but whatever. But, and also, it's wrong. This list is wrong, by the way. And I just realized that as I look at it. But here, they didn't have many to go on, and they it gets very bad very quick.
Mind you, this is the writer's opinion of his order.
Yeah.
So,
the writer's opinion.
I have some beefs.
I have some beefs, too. You want to start with, they put 11, which is totally wrong.
I agree. The 11...
So this is the top 11...
Well, this is every SNL sketch movie... ranked from worst to best.
Yeah.
They started at number 11 with A Night at the Roxbury, which I don't think is that bad a movie.
It's not that bad of a movie. It's a funny movie.
And if
you want to talk, this is where it becomes a problem, but go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, it's hard to make a bad Will Ferrell movie. He's just that good.
Yeah.
It's hard to not be entertained by the man. And I love Chris Kattan, too. I think he was a great SNL player. I know this sketch was very one-dimensional, but to make a movie work a little bit, it's obviously not the greatest. But I think...
But as far as these movies
once we go down the rest of the order...
You're going to be shocked
exactly.
That's 11. You guys are going to be shocked that's 11. Because you're absolutely right. Will Ferrell, and as far as a movie goes and what the plot is and the fact that they didn't screw up, like go off the rails or anything like that, it's a pretty succinct movie on top of that.
Right.
I think the comedy aspect.
I think this next one should be dead last.
I think you're absolutely right. Blues Brothers 2000.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Christ.
Did you need to make this movie even need to be made?
This list should have been, hey, there's only 3 good SNL movies. It should have been like, hey, did you ever realize there's only 3 good SNL movies? Because that's what it's coming down to. And also, I
think there's some few more.
No, there's other ones that are good, but you know what I'm saying.
This is a movie that should never even have been made. This is, you had that same feeling when you go... first of all, whenever you put a year attached to a movie, it's Blues Brothers 2000.
And as far as the drop off from the original, how much? I admitted it on the podcast already. I'm not that big of a Blues Brothers fan. But I still know how legendary the movie is.
Fair.
And all the musicians it has in it, all the characters, the actors that are in it that are just legendary, right?
Yeah.
Even Belushi, it being like one of the best things that he's done. But the fact of how much a drop off, they were trying to make this for years.
I mean, you don't have Belushi, you shoehorn fucking John Goodman in.
Yeah.
And there's like a kid involved. It's just
awful. I mean, just like, I don't even think who watches the whole thing at that point.
No.
Nobody sees it in the theater, and who watches the whole thing? Just garbage. And then, as far as music goes, at least in the first one, you had a kind of a cool,
it was the first time anything really kind of, it was cool. It was, gritty, Chicago.
Yep.
It was fun. Getting the band back together and rock and roll. It was awesome. This next one, though, I think is probably right where it's supposed to be.
It's right in the area it's supposed to be. The only thing about this movie that I remember watching it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Well, here's the thing.
There's one little piece of trivia that I tell everybody whenever this movie comes up.
Let me see if I can get. I don't know, but number 9. It's time for androgyny.
it's Pat.
Sketch that I loved as a kid, awesome. And I saw live when I went to see SNL.
Also, wouldn't survive the light of day now.
No.
Holy shit.
Just with the groping and
oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, there was always...
Holy cow. And then Chris, the boy, the significant other,
Chris, another androgynous name.
Oh my God, you're right. Imagine if they had It's Pat now. The show would be done.
Forget about it. So I went to a 93 taping of Saturday Night Live. It was Sharon Stone Pearl Jam. Amazing show.
Whoa.
I've seen the reruns hold up so well too.
14?
Yeah, I was 13 or 14, and
that's a classic episode.
I got a Wayne's World cold open. I had it was right when Basic Instinct came out, so they did that cold open where Farley's under the lights sweating.
Yes, I remember that. And, that's like a famous episode. Dude.
Yeah, it's a really great episode. And then there's like the another sketch that would never fly today. It was that she was so hot every time she went through the metal detector at the airport. They kept making the noises with their mouth, so like the alarm was going off. So she would take off another piece of wood. They kept, whoop, whoop, whoop. It was Hartman and Nealon, and they were all. Never fly today, because she was down to like her, like lingerie in the end.
Yes,
and
that's right.
Oh my God, Sharon.
Well, that was right off Basic Instinct.
Right off.
And then did they have something that with the crossing the legs bit? Maybe not.
I think it was
with the sweating.
They had Farley do it.
Yeah. But also the piece of trivia.
Oh yes,
Quentin Tarantino did rewrites for It's Pat on the script.
I would not have gotten.
You didn't know that?
I would not have gotten that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's if you look at it,
it's all wordy. And
it's just Pat with a gun and an afro. She has an afro already, so just doing the closing scene from Pulp Fiction.
And he who denies my brothers.
Yeah. It's Pat like, what ain't no country I ever heard of?
Pat ain't
no country I ever heard of.
What are you?
So the next one,
number 8.
I don't know this one as well. I've seen scenes from
Same here.
Yeah, but I've heard it should probably be higher. From what I've heard about this movie, it should be higher.
From seeing the others, I could tell you it should be higher.
Yes.
The Ladies' Man, starring Tim Meadows, who is such a great guy. We had him on my Sirius XM show on the Raw Report. Told us some really cool SNL stories and moments.
Off the mic or on the mic?
On the show. Yeah. And so I always thought that's...
Anything from Ladies' Man that fits into
Nothing from Ladies' Man, but he told that he's had a really cool moment of when Mike Myers, who we'll get to on this list, brought him downstairs after he had written his first sketch, and they had built the set for it. And Mike Myers was just kind of like, hey, come with me. And he brought him down to the set. He goes, you made this. And he goes, this was me seeing the set they built from the first sketch that I ever wrote that got on air. He was like, I cried. He was just
that's
like,
pretty
Mike
cool.
Myers had the wherewithal to be like, hey, this is going to be a really cool moment for you. I want to show you. He's like, you just made this. This is going to be on TV.
Well, you know what's awesome about that? All the craziness you hear about working on that show, and how much anger there could be back and forth and bitterness. It's great to hear like a good story like that. You know what I'm saying? Because all you hear about is like everybody's fighting for their own time on the show. But it's really great that was a nice story.
So the Ladies' Man, again, so we're both kind of agreed that it should definitely be above the number 7, Stuart Saves His Family.
Stuart Saves His Family. Jesus Christ.
Again, a sketch that I loved.
The sketch is great, but a lot of these things can't be, how are you looking at Stuart? Literally a sketch where it's Al Franken looking into a mirror.
I know.
We can turn this into a 90-minute comedy. It makes no sense.
I think a lot of these, which if you're an SNL, historian, not historian, but knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than the regular Joe, I guess, about SNL. Like, I've read books, and I like to read up. I like SNL lore.
Yeah, you're a fan.
You hear these stories about Lorne Michaels, and he's actually pretty loyal. And a lot of these movies, I think, could be considered favors. Do you know what I mean? Like, Al Franken was an original SNL writer, is there from day one.
Yeah.
I think they tried their damnedest to get him on the show as much as possible. He was supposed to be one of the Weekend Update guys. He was very upset when they gave it to Kevin Nealon over him. And I think this is Lorne Michael going, because, that's not a lot to make a 90-minute feature on.
It's good to be loyal, but it's one of those things where you still could have tried to make it funny. There's a possibility. It's also, because you have, I'll talk about it after we run through it, but if you think about other movies that SNL people have been involved with that probably have SNL writers on the movies, not all of them, and that were produced by other production companies, but aren't characters from the movies. Things like Tommy Boy or Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison, where it's like, it's all from the same ilk, but that there was SNL, what's his name, Frank, he was involved in Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Frank, the rosy cheek guy from writer Frank
Sebastiano?
Irish guy, Irish guy. No, Sebastiani was Frank was Dirty Work, I think. But what's his name? He goes, my wife's the whore. When he
Not Frank. It's God damn it!
What's it? Something Mooney or something like that.
No,
whatever his name is. But he's an SNL writer.
Jim Downey.
Jim Downey. That guy worked on SNL for years, and he was a part of other movies.
Yeah,
that didn't have. They weren't sketches.
Yeah.
So bring him on to write for Stuart Sage's family.
Agree.
Maybe he was. I don't know.
Who knows?
All I'm saying is Stuart definitely. Ladies' Man should be below that. Superstar is next, which I think I saw randomly, and it was just kind of boring.
I've just seen bits and pieces of it. Where
but
again,
awesome sketch. She's so.
Some would argue,
fucking hilarious.
yeah. I mean, her physicality is really what sells it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like it's kind of, and a lot of SNL sketches are one-trick ponies. It's just punchline and then repeat.
Right.
You know,
it's catchphrase.
So to make a 90-minute
started that trope of that. You know.
But yeah, like you said, if you have the writing behind it and the acting, you can make a decent movie, which leads us to number 5, a sequel, which is Wayne's World 2, which is a very underrated sequel, in my opinion.
You think so?
I think it's got some great moments in it. It's got Farley back. It's got a lot of fun references. It's got Harry Shearer as Handsome Dan, who plays this ugly radio DJ, which has one of my favorite lines in it, and also one of my favorite just movie moments where they start doing, you know, listen, as comedians, when we're on the road, we have to do a lot of morning radio, and you meet these kinds of DJs that kind of just want you to start talking and do a bit, and then they tune out, so they do that thing where it's just like, yeah, so Wayne Stock is coming up, it's going to be, and Harry Shearer's just going, great, and he's changing all the CDs, he's just not listening, he's just going, yeah, right, sounds great, and then they do that thing where I could say anything that I want right now, right? You're not even listening to me. That's right.
That's funny, yeah.
And that whole thing. And then he uses one of my favorite words. I've never heard anybody use it like this before or since. And this is just the genius of Harry Shearer. After they get off air, he just like leans over and goes, hey guys, Wayne Stock, really a lot of buzz around. I think people are really starting to get cranked. I think people are starting to get cranked.
Funny,
it's such a funny. So that's.
So you're saying underrated. I think that, yeah.
But again, it's like you put some talented people in a movie and let them do their thing. You're gonna, you know, it's obviously not as good as the first one, but it's not bad, and I believe it's better than the number 4.
Absolutely, it's better than number 4. I'll go. Number 4 is Coneheads,
which I happened to just be watching the other day. It was on, and I happened to catch a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you right this: Night at the Roxbury is better than Coneheads. Mm-hmm. Much better than Coneheads.
Man, Farley was in a lot.
Yeah, much better than Coneheads.
But again, favor, like, give Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin something in the mid-90s after the sketch was like off the air for 20 years.
Make it, and also the sketch. To be honest, it's one of those sketches that you're like, yeah, I could see this being a movie. The aliens that move in with the cone, like, it was such a big sketch back in the 70s.
Right, huge.
And it's a family story wise. It makes sense for, hey, I could see it being a movie. You know, it'd be like, you almost have like a Edward Scissorhands kind of thing where it's like the weird.
And again, it's not terrible. You got Phil Hartman. You've got.
But the movie's garbage. It's a garbage movie.
Yeah,
it's not funny at all.
It's definitely not number 4.
I think one of the things with that is they did it in the 90s, and it was a 1970s sketch.
Exactly. That's what you were saying. And that's so in the top 3.
Better.
But yes, I would say A Night at the Roxbury is better than Coneheads. I would say Wayne's World 2 is better than Coneheads. And yeah, I'd say everything else is falling.
Well, it brings us to number 3.
Now, the top 3, I think, are all can't misses. I love all 3 of these.
Do you think these are all in the right spot? Or would you switch 2 and 1?
I would no. I think 1's at the right spot. I would maybe. I know this is sacrosanct to say, but I think the funnier. It depends on what you're ranking them as, like better movie or funnier movie.
I think funny when it comes to SNL, it has to be funny.
Well, then if it's funnier, the number 3 list is MacGruber, which is so funny. Have you watched it recently? It deserves repeated watchings. It's one of those ones where you go, oh man, I didn't get that on the first pass. Really funny movie.
Really?
That being said, I do think it's in the right place because number 2 is Blues Brothers, and I know a lot of people are going to have their own 1, 2, 3 in this order. Because if you want to reveal number 1, we can talk about them as a trio here.
Number 1 is Wayne's World.
Number 1 is Wayne's World.
I think Wayne's World is most people's number 1.
And
for how I grew up, Wayne's World's my number 1.
Same here.
Yeah. And Blues Brothers,
it's
like I said,
tight race, but I think for me,
it's almost like the show's been on so long. You're almost dealing with 2 different generations when you're doing 1 and 2. Like you're going from 90s to like Blues Brothers was late 70s, right? 79 or something?
I think
76.
I think it might even be an 80.
It was an 80? Okay, yeah. But still, you're dealing with two different time periods. Not that matters. Funny is funny. But to be honest, I enjoy Wayne's World way better than Blues Brothers.
1980.
Yeah.
Fiore, right?
But
again.
I think Wayne's World's where it should be. I think those top three, I think MacGruber might be an upset for some people. I think some people would have put maybe Coneheads earlier because they think Coneheads is funny. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you're right, because it's one of those things you have to put MacGruber there because it's funnier than
it is
most
really
of these
funny.
movies.
It is a really funny movie that came out of an SNL sketch where that is the way you make a feature, because that was so broad you could do kind of whatever with that character, and it was based off of MacGyver,
yeah,
which is so you already kind of have these built-in storylines.
Oh yeah,
you just go watch old episodes,
and it was from a great time period of the show.
It's filthy. It's I think it has like one of the records for like most vulgarities or curse.
Oh, I think it does.
It's so funny. He's just like he's having sex with the ghost of his dead wife in the graveyard, and then it just cuts away to like these little kids like looking at him, and he's just got his pants around his ankles, he's just humping nothing, and he's just like yeah it's so funny, man.
Let me ask you this. How about this, a sketch that never made it, because I have one in mind, a sketch that never made it to
great idea,
never made it to a movie but should have.
I wonder if yours is the same as mine.
I'm sure it is.
What?
Matt Foley.
Oh, I was going to say Canteen Boy. But Matt Foley is perfect.
Canteen Boy is almost like Waterboy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right.
Don't you think they eventually would have gotten there if Farley didn't die?
Matt Foley?
Matt Foley, yeah. I mean, it was so popular. And
I don't know, because he died in what year?
97.
97?
Yeah. Or maybe 98.
You might be right. They might have gotten to Matt Foley. It might have been like if things started going south, that's how you get him back, Matt Foley.
Yeah. Because Chris Farley,
that's a no-brainer to do it earlier, though, too. It's like, it's different. It's different from Tommy Boy.
It's different from Tommy Boy.
And you have
different from American or Beverly Hills Ninja.
And you have, just the song, the opening song alone with the Van Down by the River. Well, that's a whole, that's what
you can see the Van Down by the River.
Yeah.
You can actually.
Yeah, exactly. So
God, Hardman played that straight character so well, the dad.
Yeah.
Matt, we're ready for you.
And you see like Spade like.
Now he's been down in the basement for about 6 hours drinking coffee. I mean, he was so perfect.
But it's such a funny sketch. But there's a script somewhere.
Absolutely.
Of that. And that kind of sucks. That
didn't happen. I love MacGruber. I love Blues Brothers. But yeah, I think Wayne's World is the right order for me personally. It's obviously subjective.
Now, if you it's so funny because the minute that you go, okay, now we're going to open the list up to movies that SNL people are in, then you put in Adam Sandler movies, and about 5 of these get knocked off the list right away.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's.
And Sandler, is he in any of these? Is he in any of these?
I don't think so.
He's not. No, he's not. So it's almost like there was a divorce, and then he went, and then the Happy Gilmore.
Well, he just kind of took Smigel and his writing partner, who I'm at a law, Tim Hurley, and they kind of went and did their own thing. He had this little group, Fred Wolf and those guys, Jim Downey, who's in a lot of them.
I gravitate towards way more.
Yeah, but then again, it's like after Happy Gilmore, there's a sharp decline. Billy Madison, he comes out of the gate swinging for the fences and hits it well over the wall.
And almost like it's almost like, all right, Billy Madison I equate to the Judd Apatow start of a crew and a world of movies that was comedy at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have all the Seth Rogen movies after the 40-Year-Old Virgin kind of started that. Billy Madison, for me, started like the Happy Gilmores. Even Big Daddy's pretty funny.
Yeah.
What else did he do? He did like the not Fever Pitch.
Mr. Deeds, which is like a weird remake. It's not bad, but it's not great.
Remake. Yeah.
And then there's some garbage in there.
It gets really bad later on.
Like Waterboy, I think, is before Big Daddy.
Little Nicky and Waterboy, I'm not as much of a fan of.
No.
And like Waterboy, I like better than Little Nicky.
Yeah, I mean, we're just splitting hairs.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, you're right. But what I'm saying is how strong, like you take Happy Gilmore, even if you want to put Airheads in there because it's an Adam Sandler movie, and I think the same kind of crew made it, but I could be wrong. And Farley's in it too, and he's great in it. The thing where he goes, when he has the nipple ring, and he goes, "What are you gonna do? pig.
Yeah.
And he goes, improvise, and pulls his nipple ring out. It's funny. It's really funny. And it's like such a funny, it's also funny, Airheads, the movie.
Airheads is great, man. It holds up.
Airheads is so great. It holds up, and it's a movie about metalheads, like, at the demise of metalheads. Like, that was the end.
Yeah.
It was like 94. That was when it was ending. Like, that's when grunge was coming into play. 95, right? 94 was
Well, even earlier.
Even earlier. So when you have Brendan Fraser, like, playing a metalhead, that's just funny.
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi is great in it. Yeah, he goes. That's another great line in it when they take the building hostage, and then he goes out, and they're like they love in the crowd's loving them that they're in the building. He goes, "Hey, we're partying in here. We got all kinds of beer." He just says that. He says that to the crowd. We got all kinds of beer.
Lone Rangers.
The Lone Rangers. Michael McKean's great.
Michael McKean is in a lot of these movies. He's in Coneheads.
He's in Wayne's World too, right?
He's in Wayne's World. He's in Coneheads.
Yeah.
He's like kind of the far. He's just a staple. He's such a good actor.
He's such a good actor.
But we have talked about this separately from all this before. About I think both of our favorite moments is. Right when it's revealed in Billy Madison that there's like the news teaser where it's like coming up next at 6, a local millionaire son bribes principal to go through school and what's McDonald just delivers. He goes, now it might be somebody else. It's just so perfect. But then even before that,
they're watching some show about a talking dog, and he goes, "I don't know," and he goes, "Oh my God, that is funny."
Right.
He goes, it's just Adam Sandler and like 2 feet from the TV going, "Oh my God, that is funny."
Is now only the way McDonald's can do it.
Well, so I think what we realize is this, man. I think that the only one kind of worth anything in this that I really would like, if you were like, hey, MacGruber, I'd watch it. I actually
MacGruber is very, very funny and
I feel bad that I forget it. And then I think Wayne's World, like the really, that's like, that is the
I watched
number
Wayne's
one.
World a ton.
Wayne's
it is
World
so
is
funny.
Like,
kind of resurrected Rob Lowe's career too.
Yeah, it did.
Where he was able to become that like
comedy.
Yeah.
And it was like not that far after that thing that happened with Rob Lowe when he like had sex with that underage girl or whatever it was.
And Wayne's World is a very funny. It's pretty smart too. Like Mike Myers is a good writer. I mean, there's a lot of like references and it's a really funny movie, man.
It's super funny. So I think they had the right number one, but I think they fucked up on a lot of the other numbers.
Yeah, and then
also Night at the Roxbury, I would put so much farther than less. I'd probably put it at like number 5 or something.
Absolutely,
it's fun. It's a funny movie, and Chaz Palmer Terry's in it.
yeah. So write in, let us know what you think. If you think we missed anything, or you have your opinions, or you think we got the order wrong. Again, we were working off a list, but.
Let us know let us know what you think happened, because obviously there's a disconnect when it comes to these movies. It's almost like you're right, maybe they're just all favors and they're just pumping them out. They're trying to get them out so they can make some cash for the guys they're being loyal to or whatever it is. I don't know. It just seems whenever these come out, they seem rushed to come out, except for Coneheads, which came out 20 years later.
Right.
But there's obvious disconnect. And then when they take some time on them and they kind of do properties that aren't SNL properties, they come out better for some reason.
Yeah. And let us know what sketch you think should have been a movie, which is a really fun idea.
Yes.
I've been thinking about that too. That's a fun one, because I haven't watched a lot of SNL in 10 years.
I feel like there's a bunch of stuff. Not Mango, I wouldn't put into a sketch. Mango.
I mean, I'm sure there's so many like
Kristen Wiig
Will Ferrell things we're forgetting. Yeah, Kristen Wiig, I'm surprised. But then they kind of go, if they do their own movies, it's just not spawned from SNL sketches.
Right, exactly. So tweet at us other sketches that you think could actually sustain a 90-minute movie and really be funny.
I think one of the ones just immediately popped in my head, speaking of Will Ferrell, was it was I think maybe he did it in his audition. It's just Angry Dad, which is get off the damn shed.
Yeah.
I think I would love just to watch that guy and
for 90 minutes.
I think Will Ferrell could carry it.
They have a baseball one too.
If you know like his whole, just to see that guy's whole life.
Oh sure. They have a Little League one too, don't they, with them? Like when they're all like just chatting. And then he's like, and then he starts screaming at them. He's like,
Dog
get
Show.
On the base!
Remember Dog Show?
Dog Show? Oh yeah. Oh, that's another one.
Dog Show.
I'm surprised.
Really weird.
The cheerleaders, they could have had a movie.
Cheerleaders, yeah, I can see that one going like the way of like the ladies' manish, though. You know?
Yeah. The public radio ladies.
Oh, maybe.
You know, whatever. Well, let us know what you think could possibly have at Defend Your Movie. Tweet at us at Andy Fiore at Shawnee Time.
Correct.
Let us know. SNL, what movies could have been made out of sketches that they dropped the ball on, or just didn't get made. It also could just didn't get made because it didn't get made. Who knows? Yeah. But thank you so much for listening, Andy. What do you want to plug there?
Well, I'm on the road this weekend, but I'm doing a college tomorrow. Which I don't believe is open to the public. I'm going to send these kids off to graduation the right way, Shawnee.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm actually doing a one-nighter in Albany. I'm in Rhode Island, and then I'm doing like a firehouse in Albany. I'm doing a fundraiser, which are usually actually pretty fun. So sorry, nothing open to the public this weekend. And then I'm in the cellar next week during the week, and so if you're in the city, please come up and say hi. I do have some more road dates throughout the summer at andyfiore.com, and of course you can listen to my Sirius XM show, The Raw Report, every Thursday at 4 p.m. if you are a subscriber. So do that.
Nice. And I'm at Shawnee Time on Instagram and Twitter, and I will be when you're listening to this, I will be at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin, Texas. One of my favorite places to go.
I'm so sad I'm not going this year.
I know, I'm bummed you're not going. We could have taped while we were there.
All my friends are going this year, and I'm so we would have had so many great guests.
I know.
We should actually maybe just bring the podcast down to be a part of the festival next year.
I know.
Because this is a cool festival. They actually have like a broadcasting podcast part of the festival.
Yeah, we should have done that.
We would do a live show, and we do good live shows here at Defend Your Movie.
Absolutely. So I'm doing that.
2020.
The week after, I'm at Saratoga at Comedy Works, Saratoga, New York, and then I have some other live stuff coming up. So just look on my Instagram, and I'll post everything. The stories are on the actual picture part of the Instagram. Thank you so much. We tape this at Showbiz Studios, showbizstudios.com. Check out all the amazing podcasts they have to offer. And I also have a serious show that I do once a month. It's called Celebrate, and it's on Raw Dog 99. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you
when we see it
next week.
Okay.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
There's a time